Yeah, neighboring Germany, where a week ago tractors rolled into the capital to demand that those fuel subsidies stay on the books. Well, for more, let's go to Berlin and Sandra Weeser, a member of the German parliament from the Liberal FDP party, which is in coalition with the government. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
With pleasure.
Before we talk about Germany, your reaction to what you're seeing happening across the Rhine here in France?
But actually, what I see is that there's a kind of solidarization with the German farmers, and it could be maybe even a movement all across Europe.
Yeah, all across Europe, because we've seen the protests are a little bit different from country to country in places like Romania, Poland. What's the common thread?
I think that, let's say, the discussions we have for the moment is that really, as they say, it's the last straw that breaks the camel's back. So they have so much bureaucracy, overburdening rules, subsidies, more than 52% of the income of the farmers are subsidies. So this is not really a very, let's say, healthy basis to do a business. And I think now it's going in a way that the people, or the farmers, they don't really understand why their work is not appreciated, why they don't have perspectives for their farms. They are asking me why I should tell my children to get over the farm in the future. There are no perspectives for us in this kind of business. And all this is, I think, the basis of the protests, which is now, for the moment, the tax rises. The point which, let's say, starts this discussion or this farmers' movements. But at the end is, I think, the big question: why don't they get the money they need for the food they are producing?
And does the problem lie with other nations undercutting them, or is the problem more with distributors, the big grocery chains?
Yeah, I think it's more a discussion with the as you say, with the how do you say, distribution level, because the farmers, they cannot really let's say tell what they need as a price. They are dictated by the big stores as Lidl, Rewe, and so on. What money they get for the liter of milk and so on. And I think this is the big problem they have, and that makes them a little bit desperate also.
The German Chancellor attending the big ag fair taking place in Berlin this Monday. He promised that the government will help them to cut down on red tape. We've heard the same noises here in France from the government as it reworks that farm bill. How do you cut down on the red tape? What red tape are we talking about here?
But what I think is that we have to really have a look at the big shell, and we have sum up where are the burdens, which are the biggest points, and to draw down bureaucracy. It doesn't cost anything to the state. So I understand we have in Germany, due to a ruling decision from the court, fined 17 billion euros to get this gap in our budget done. But at the end, you can also get some money, or let's say reduce the burdens for the farmers. And then if they have a perspective, when we are talking about, for example, new breeding methods, to make it easier to get these new breeding methods on the way, to have a planified usage of pesticides, or if you use more land instead of set-aside land, then I think there should be some good points to start to get it easier for the farmers.
Yeah, so this is where perhaps it turns into kind of a culture war, right? Because the environmentalists are worried that if you talk about cutting down red tape, what you're actually saying in translation is cutting down environmental norms at a time when we're trying to make it the food that we grow healthier.
No, not really, because I think the new methods we have, they are not really bad or against the environment, but I think that we have to stop really to forbid to forbid everything that farmers help to overcome the problems they have. And maybe it will take a little bit more time, but we should have a closer look at all the burdens they have.
We've seen here in France the leader of the National Rally Party of Marine Le Pen. He's been visiting farms in the southwest where the protests have been the biggest. There's this feeling that the far right has latched on to these protests. Why is that, and what's the answer to it?
Yeah, the answer is, first of all, to talk together and really to have an open ear to the problems. If there is only more and more coming down from Brussels, they just say what to do, I don't think that is the solution. And then at the end, people and the consumers, they also had to be ready to pay more for what they eat, because especially in Germany, I think it's a little bit different in France, but especially in Germany, when you talk to the people, everybody is ready to pay more for good food. But then when you're in the supermarket and you have a look at what the people are really buying, it's not really, it's not a high price product. So I think we have to be also a little bit more honest with ourselves as a consumer.
More honest as a consumer. And we saw the leader of your party brave the boos of those farmers last Monday when he said, no, we have to scrap this fuel subsidy. Do you stand by that?
Actually, I think we cannot withdraw everything. We already stopped the exemption for the so-called green plates that will mean that you don't have to pay the engine tax on the agricultural vehicles. And the second part was the subsidy on the fuel diesel fuel. And there he said that we cannot withdraw everything, but we will find other, let's say, other methods or other things to reduce the burden. So let's wait what he's working on. I think it's better to make it with more quality than to find a quick solution, which at the end maybe doesn't lead to the point where we want to go.
I want to thank you so much, Sandra Weeser, for being with us from Berlin.
From Brussels.
From Brussels.
Thank you for a meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. In Brussels. Thank you for the correction.